should one be noting while not in formal meditation? I often find confusion arising when I am in a deep concentration. I will hear someone speak, and then I note hearing. Then usually the next thing to arise is the breath. Then usually a thought like, this person wants that question answered. But it stops there, and I usually come back to the breath. You want to answer that one first?
It depends on the situation. Of course, if possible, you should always note everything that is going on around you. You should be mindful. But you can learn to be a little bit selective on what you are mindful, and you can try to have your mind open on, for example, other people, so that you are able to answer these questions. That means you are not only, when you are not meditating, you are not only mindful to the internal, but you're mindful on the external as well. You note that the person is approaching, and you hear the question, and then just don't go back to the breath. You can direct your mind and have the answer prepared for it, and then feel your, how is this thing called, when you speak, or you can hear, you can feel your lips, or you can try to be mindful on the thoughts that arise in order to give a good answer. There are many different things you can be mindful on, so you don't have to go back to the breath, which would be going internally. So as in the Satipatthana, it's said that you can be mindful internally and externally. And when you're not in formal meditation, it's quite good to be mindful externally as well.
Okay, then I'll answer part 2, because I don't have anything to add. I feel as if my thoughts have shut off, and I need to make a conscious decision to start thinking. Is this proper practice, or am I doing something wrong? It's like I have to stop my concentration and force a thought, even if it doesn't arise. That's actually connected to the first one, isn't it? He just wrote it in 2 parts.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then I'll try to add something in there. Well, it is a problem with social interactions when you lose your connection with people's questions. But it's only a problem because of our expectations in society. I mean, this is why meditators become very weary of society, because they have to choose. They're either going to be mindful, or they're going to interact with people. When you're really mindful, most people don't want to be around you. Many people who are into worldly things don't want to be around you. When you answer, from the heart, from a meditative point of view, then you wind up, sitting in a hut in the jungle in very short time. Well, very short, no, in not so long of a time, because because society, you're caught up in a whirlwind in society. In the world, you're caught up in so much stress. Think about how people live their lives ordinarily from day to day. It's with so much stress and hustle and bustle that is meaningless, that is worse than meaningless, that is causing them more stress and is feeding this stress and defilement, some greed and anger and so on. So you're always going to have that conflict in a sense, and you have to, when living in the world, you have to make a compromise, as Palanyani said, or I think she said that you're not going to be mindful of everything. You're going to have to answer people and put up with it.
But you can be mindful by doing so.
And you can be mindful of other things. Like, at the very least, I will always have people explain people to be mindful of your emotions. You know, so if you can't be mindful of talking or feeling your lips move when you talk, or listening, even just hearing when the other person is talking, or even thinking when, if all of that is too quick and too difficult and actually gets in the way of, or seems to get in the way of the conversation, it doesn't have to. If you're really good at it, you can actually do that and still be involved in the conversation to an extent. It makes you look a little weird, seem a little weird when you're pausing and so on. But at the very least, when you get angry at someone, or when you're stressed, or when you like something that someone says, when you're happy or so on, be mindful of all of that, your worries and your fears, and come to see that, you know, all of these many things that we normally miss in an ordinary conversation, that in every ordinary conversation there's a lot of excitement. There's our anger and frustration, annoyance. There's the worries and the fears and the self-image of, how do I look to this person? Did I say something funny, or did I say something clever, or did I say something stupid, or, you know, did I make myself look bad, or so on? How does this person, what do they think of me, and so on? All of this we can mitigate, we can lessen, so that we're more able to be there and to be present. The best thing, I think, is to enter into every situation mindfully, with the intention to be mindful, whether you're mindful of it all or not. We always do these reflections. So before we eat, we reflect on the food. Before we put our robes on, we reflect on the robes. Before we do things, we try to reflect and say, now I'm going on alms round. I'm going to try to be mindful while I'm going on alms round. Establish this intention in your mind. Now this person, I'm going to have to talk with this person. I'm going to be mindful. Now I'm on monk radio and I have to give a talk. I'm going to try to be mindful as I give the talk. That's something that I think is essential in all situations. It will change every situation. Just to go into it with the intention to be mindful. Start off with a mindful intention, and then you will find yourself coming back to it and focusing on your emotions more, and clearing up your mind so that you're able to deal with the situation in a wise and wholesome manner. Okay.